Hi, my name is Marshall Portilla, and I'm doing my capstone research proposal on U.S. veterans and their association with need and service animals, and ways that we can implement a program that will help them not just get their animals and have money for their animals to be trained, but also for them to be able to get the animal. So now in today's society, there are numerous veterans that are suffering from PTSD, and there's a lot of other people in society that suffer from PTSD and other mental disorders, like children and adults who cannot afford to get a service animal in today's day and age. So the issue is arising, especially with U.S. veterans, and is how is service animals actually helping them and benefiting them with their mental illness. And a lot of studies have proved that the symptoms of PTSD have been greatly decreased when a service animal is involved in the treatment. Now they are doing a pilot study that is almost done through the PAWS Act, who has so far proved through literature and scientific review that service animals are decreasing the amount of symptoms that veterans are having on a day-to-day basis. So they're being able to be more social in public, being able to increase their chances of future employment, decreasing symptoms of anxiety and wanting to be closed in, and being able to actually get back to having a good quality of life because of implementing a service animal into their treatment. And because of that, the PAWS Act has created a program for certain veterans under certain situations that they can now get a service animal through the Veterans Association and receive a grant that actually helps pay for that service animal's care, training, veterinary expenses, things like toys and food and the things that are hard to pay for, especially if they're on SSI. The thing that PAWS Act grant lacks is the payment for the animal. So we do know now in today's society that a normal service dog being trained by a service dog facility is not required, and it's not something that legally they can make them do. But in order for them to get the grant, they do have to go through a specialized training program that is authorized by the VA. And a lot of families also want, with their children and with people that are low income, want to have their dog trained by a actual trainer. Even though it's not required, they want to have this. And the problem arises that a typical trainer can range anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, and people just don't have money for that. So there steps in the PAWS Act for veterans, where they do go ahead and pay for that training, and they do go ahead and pay for that care and give them grants to continue that care. But they lack the ability to get the animal, and a lot of times they end up adopting an animal or getting one that was previously trained, and those animals have a history. My program, what I'm trying to do is to go with local breeders that breed purebred AKC registered animals, mainly those that are large breeds like St. Bernards, Neapolitan Mastiffs, Giant Schnauzers, because they put on pressure therapy for PTSD. Larger animals can put pressure onto a person, not saying that a smaller animal can't also do the job, but a larger animal is a little bit more capable of putting that pressure therapy than a small one is, and that's why I've chosen large breeders. But along with that also comes a great extent of health concerns. The animals tend to not live very long, typically 7 or 8 years, because of their size. And they're very expensive. They're ranging anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000 for these purebred dogs. And this is something most veterans can't afford to pay for, and most people of low income can't afford to pay for. With my program, we would go ahead and incorporate with my partners, which are local breeders like the Giant Schnauzer company. I also have a Neapolitan Mastiff breeder, and I'm looking for maybe a Great Dane or a St. Bernard breeder right now. One of my breeders did fall through. She didn't have any puppies right now, and she wanted that to be part of the program, and because she didn't, we weren't able to include her. But we want to take that partner, those breeders, along with the Veterans Association and maybe their own training breeding program or the recommended breeders that the Veterans Association requires, and collaborate a program that would allow these people to get these dogs for free or for maybe $100 when they would normally be paying $2,000 to $7,000, and then get them as puppies with no history and train them from the beginning on up. And that would give these people the time to connect with the puppy. That would give them a purebred dog that has less health issues, less history, and with that program not cost them anything. Along with that, it would also benefit the breeder, not just the veteran or the low-income family member, but it would benefit the breeder because the breeder would get this tax-exempt status of this 501(c), or they would be able to do a tax deduction at the end of the year saying we're donating puppies at this rate of $100 when normally we're charging $7,000, and they would get a tax deduction off of each puppy, which would be somewhere around, at the high end of $6,900. When you're donating 2 puppies a year for 2 different types of breeds, that can get up in the $20,000-$30,000 worth of tax deductions, which is really good for the small breeder who's willing to take the time to implement such a program. So I did find a lot of literature proving that, having the service animal is a good thing. I did find a lot of literature as far as the PAWS Act, showing that they are implementing a program now, which a lot of people don't know about, to provide grants for veterans. And I'm thinking about maybe even expanding this out to help low-income families. Our actual results hypothesis is going to be that it's going to be hard for the small-time breeder to go in and start a 501(c) and give up a large portion of their income and not get anything back from it initially. And it's going to take some time for a program like this to actually gain momentum. So we are hypothesizing that maybe starting out with this being more of a donation program and a tax deduction for the first 5-year plan will be good, in collaborating with the VA and the breeders together with a trainer that they recommend would be the most feasible option. After that 5-year plan, we believe that we could take this program and actually turn it into a 501(c) with more manpower and more people willing to work outside of Alabama, which is where I'm starting, in more states, to maybe even across the country, to expand this program, and then it become a 501(c) where it is beneficial to the breeder and the breeder is still bringing in an income. Once this program, if it is able to gain that momentum, we hypothesize that we would actually be able to register to be one of the training breeding facilities if the breeder is trained or has a degree, such as myself will have, or even a history of training with service animals, which I've also done, and is able to actually do some of that training themselves and hire on other trainers or volunteer trainers that are willing to come in and help out and help these veterans get a AKC registered dog that they can be trained from the very beginning, that they don't have to then adopt out and deal with maybe having the history of an animal that isn't ready to care for them in the way that they need. I hope this is giving you a little bit of information on where my project is going. It isn't completely formed yet. Like I said, I did lose a breeder early on, and we are still working with getting the VA involved and things like that. But I'm hoping that it will take form and we'll be able to get this thing up and running. It's nice speaking with y'all, and I hope you understand where this is going. Have a nice day, and bye, Capstone 1. See y'all in Capstone 2.